me check if it's I'm waiting to see if we're showing online. Hold on.
Okay.
Know how it is when you're ready for something to work, it always drags in.
Isn't that the way it always is? That's the way that life happens.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we wouldn't think it was for real if it didn't do what it was not supposed to do.
That's one way of looking at it. That way it
If it
lets
was,
us know it's real.
right? If it was doing what it was supposed to be doing, we'd be like, "Are we on? Are we on? We're really on." Yeah. Do you have your Facebook page open?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Let me look on here. Look on my other thing and see if it's on. Because it's trying to play with me right now. It shows it's on, so I guess we'll get going.
Okay.
I wanted to share it to another page, but since the Facebook is tripping, I can't even do that. So it's all right. We're gonna get this in a minute.
Okay.
It doesn't look like it's showing up on the other page.
No?
Mm-mm.
Huh.
Let's see what's going on with it, because we're going to get this right. Page. All righty. Well, let's get going then.
Okay.
So you know, just so you know, this Just So You Know moment is brought to you by Dr. LaShonda Jackson Dean, Jackson Dean Investments, and JDI Multimedia Network. Just so you know, Dr. Jackson Dean, the TV talk show queen, the pen slayer, and multiple national and international best-selling author says, I am a TV talk show host, a speaker, life and success strategist, and an author. I inspire, empower, and coach others to be the best version of themselves. Welcome to Just So You Know moment with a twist. I am your host, Dr. LaShonda Jackson Dean. Thank you to everyone that has joined. Please like and share, like and share, like and share. And please be interactive and participative. You know, I love that. First, give it honor to God, because despite of what things look like, He is still in the blessing and the healing business. And I thank God for it. So, tonight, on this very night, we have a wonderful guest, the owner of Mama Vega Enterprises and Salsa, the beautiful, talented, extraordinary Miss Charmene Vega. Hello, Miss Vega. How are you?
Hi, how you doing? Hi.
Wonderful, wonderful,
Thank
wonderful.
you for inviting me to be on your show.
Absolutely. It was my pleasure. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Give us an introduction of who you are.
An introduction of who I am. Well, I'm a
Yes, absolutely.
I'm a first, and I'm a grandmother. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a teacher, and I'm someone who just enjoys sharing how to be healthy and what you should eat, especially in these times with COVID, and how to boost your immune system.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So you say that you like to help people eat healthy. That's because you are a registered dietitian, right?
That is correct. I am, and I'm a fourth generation nutritionist. My mother is a certified herbalist, and my grandmother, going back a few generations, both my grandmother and great grandmother also gardened and did herbs. And it wasn't a matter of going to the doctor. It was, go out to the yard and go pick some of that mullein or go pick those mints, and they grind it up, and it tastes like I don't know what, but they made you it made you well.
Oh my goodness. That was the good old days, huh?
Yes, that was the good old days. That was the good old days.
And things were much healthier then, because now today they're putting so many fillers and this and that. You really don't know what you're taking.
Exactly. And that's one of the things I try to share with people, is to stay away from the things that have fillers and go for the things that are organic. There's a lot of reasons why. And my main reason for explaining that is because with COVID, you have a compromised immune system. And so you want to boost your immune system. And the best way to do that is going to be if you are eating things that are more natural, and you're taking different elixirs, not so much the pill type, but the liquid form.
Can you give us some examples of those elixirs that you're speaking of?
Okay, that would be something that people might know of, would be something like elderberry. Elderberry or elderberry juice would be considered like an elixir. It's liquid. And the reason for that is, when they say somebody's going to have a heart attack and they put something underneath their tongue, that's because it goes directly into the bloodstream. So if you take something that's liquid, it goes right into your bloodstream, and it doesn't tax your organs. So Absolutely. It kind of bypasses them.
Absolutely, under your tongue, sublingual is what they
right. That's right, sublingual.
Mm-hmm. So tell us about your company, Mama Vega Enterprises and then we're going to move on to the salsa.
Okay. Everybody wants to move on to the salsa and away from everything
Look,
else.
let
Okay.
let me be straight with you right off bat. I love to eat. I love to eat. I love good food. I love the taste and the aroma of good food, and I definitely love a good chip and dip.
Okay, let me back it up, as we'll say. Mama Vega Enterprises did not start as Mama Vega Enterprises. It started as Mama Vega Salsa.
Oh,
So the salsa is the cornerstone product for the company, and I used to make it for my students. And the name Mama Vega came from my students because I never sent them to the principal. They had to deal with me and their mom. So they always started calling it Mama Vega. So that's where the name comes from. And I was given that name. And then when I decided to start a company, my daughters said, well, just call it Mama Vega because that's what everybody knows you as. So that's how the company got started.
you know what? That's a
And
wonderful story, and it's good that you were able to take that and apply it to your business because, like you said, everybody knows you by that. And so when they see Mama Vega, guess what? We know who
they
that is.
Exactly. So, and then the enterprises came about because I've added other products since then. I've added seasonings and spices and rubs and frozen foods. And I then became a dietitian along the way and incorporated all of that and incorporated the knowledge from my mother and my grandmother and put that in the food. So that's kind of a roundabout way, but kind of putting it all together. And I'm also a special education teacher. So what I do is I say, since I know behavior modification, I get you to change your eating lifestyle and make you think it was your idea.
Honestly, that's the best way. You know, with dieting and eating healthy, it's you shouldn't listen to the fast, and you should think of it more of a lifestyle change. That's the only way that you're going to be successful with it if you consider it a lifestyle change.
That's right. And that's why I don't believe in diets. I don't believe in counting calories. I believe in teaching you the why behind why you would eat one thing versus another, or various combinations of how to combine food in order to get the what they call is making it bioavailable. And that means so that your body can absorb all the nutrients.
Can you give us an example of that? That's very interesting when you say teaching you the right things to eat and things to avoid and combining these things. So tell us what are the right things to eat?
Okay, I'll give you an example. We have a lot of meat eaters out there. I happen to eat predominantly vegetables, okay? So I will go the meat side. When you're eating meat, which we talk about, it creates uric acid and it increases cholesterol, and that's because it's, that's about 40% cholesterol, which is why it raises your cholesterol. But
Right.
if you add certain herbs to it, for example, if you're cooking on a grill, if you add something like rosemary to it, the rosemary is going to prevent the carcinogens from attacking it and making it bad for you to eat. If you add cilantro is going to help pull the toxins out of your brain so that now it's not going to impact that. So there's different things that I can show you. If you add this is what this will do. And if you add rosemary to your chicken, it'll help reduce inflammation. So it's things of that nature, or curry, or if you add turmeric, but turmeric, you have to add black pepper, not just turmeric, because when you add the black pepper, it makes it release all the nutrients that you need, hence bioavailable, biologically available to your system.
Wow. I mean, just that little bit of knowledge right there has just blown me completely away. Because, now that you say it and I think about it, I recall seeing commercials and they're showing people grilling, and I see them put the rosemary on top of the meat. And I'm thinking, like, why are they putting that garnishment on there? Why you
Yes,
put garnish on it on the grill? All it's gonna do is get all withered up, because I don't know. That's not
exactly.
what they say. And so when I saw that was just really strange to me. But for you to say that to me, being a registered dietitian and nutritionist, made me recall what I had already seen, and I was like, oh, that's why. And
And
so,
that's a part of what I try to do. Just that little bit, like you said, I try to do it where it's something you can relate to that's in your everyday life. So it's not separate from, because when a lot of times you'll go to the doctor and they'll say, okay, go look it up online, right? When you look it up online, you still don't know what you're looking at. You look
right.
up, just like you said, you still don't know. But just that little bit will be a trigger for you the next time. Oh, maybe I'll add some rosemary to it. Oh, maybe I'll add some cilantro. Those type of things, you won't look at it so much as garnishment as much as you look at it as a nutrient and something that can help your body to digest the food.
Well, I am ready to head to the grocery store and get some cilantro and some rosemary. Now, with the cilantro, I have cooked with that before. I'm not a big cook, first of all, so I'm not gonna even front like I be in the kitchen burning up stuff, because I don't. My husband does all the cooking, and I feel like this. I allow people to do what they feel like they like to do. I don't get in people's way.
Not like you said, you stay in your lane, right? You just stay in your lane.
Exactly. Staying in my lane. Call me when it's done. But I am definitely going to tell him about the rosemary and the cilantro. And, I've gone to different restaurants, especially the Mexican restaurants, where they have cilantro a lot on the plates and with the different foods, tacos and quesadillas and things like that. They add the cilantro to the pico de gala.
And that's something with the cilantro that's not just for Mexican food. Like, say you make a chicken soup, because we all know, which is true, it's been proven that chicken soup, is good for the soul, but it's also good with preventing flu and all that kind of stuff because of the way it's cooked with all the vegetables. But one of the things that you can enhance it with would be to add a little bit of rosemary to it. And then when you serve it, top it with fresh cut onions and a little bit of fresh garlic and a little bit of cilantro. And I will explain to you why, because garlic and onion are prebiotics, and they will help your gut flora to create more probiotics so that when you eat the meat, it will be digested.
Wow.
It's science.
Yes, and you know what? I'm loving every bit of this. Every bit of it, every word that you are saying. I am soaking this up, and I'm loving every bit of it. And I will be incorporating these items into my meals.
Awesome.
If I have to just go to the grocery store myself and get it, but we're going to be adding that because of the different benefits that you said that they offer that we never know. But if you don't know, you just don't know.
Well, like they say, you don't know what you don't know, right?
Right. And I did not know about that. When I thought about rosemary and the cilantro, and then I'm just thinking about just for added flavor.
Right.
That's my take on it. For the turmeric, yeah, I knew that it had some healthy benefits. And I have used it on different things. I'm one of the people, I don't eat a lot of salt at all. I just don't, because I don't want to run the risk of having blood pressure problems and things like that. So I'll use, different things like paprika, some black pepper, maybe what is that? Slap your mama. To adding the salt. And I've gotten I haven't had salt in so long that I haven't missed it, and I don't care if you have it. Now, every once in a while, I'll feel something in my throat, and I'll be like, maybe I need to just take just a little bit of salt just to keep things in order. I know there is a benefit of having salt, but just not too much salt. And I've always taught my children, my whole household, husband, and my kids, don't just be heavy-handed with the salt. Pour a little bit in your hands so you can see what you have, and then season your food with it.
Exactly, but there's different types of salts.
Right.
That's the key, is because the regular table salt that you buy, like in the box, the little one that has that little girl with the umbrella on it, I forgot the name of it, but anyway, because which that one is not necessarily good for you.
Right.
But a Celtic sea salt, or Celtic, as they say, is, or Himalayan is, and that's because those salts, the Celtic sea salt is from the Celtic Sea, and it where it is, it's like near the beach, and it collects all the minerals, and it has approximately 82 to 84% of the minerals that your body can use. And you don't use a lot of it. Have you ever seen chefs when they're cooking and they, when they get ready to do the salt, they just kind of just do one of these things and you're like, that's all they're putting on there? That's it? Well, you don't need any more than that because it's so potent.
That's true.
You just need a dash. And so those particular salts, those do have a lot of nutritional and health benefits. And from all the studies that I've done, they do not raise your high blood pressure. It's the other salt that will. Right.
And I have used the pink Himalayan salt. And like you said, it is very potent, just like the truffle pepper.
Yes.
It's very potent. I mean, you don't need very much of that, just a little bit, enough to just a pinch, as you say.
Right. That's it.
For it.
Yes. And it's a matter of learning some of these things, and that's one of the reasons why my backdrop is my kitchen. And that's because where I am is in the kitchen probably 95% of the time. And, right now I moved and I live not too far from my daughter. So I tell her, I said, you and your husband act like this is a drive-through, fast food place.
Oh, Mama.
But you know what? I don't mind. And the reason I don't is because then I know what they're eating and how they're eating. So, because I'm making it, it's not like they're going to grab the fast food and it's like, so they know that it's like, nah, this is what you're going to have tonight.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Now, give us the benefits of the rosemary again. Tell me exactly what it does to your meat.
It helps you to digest it because it's going to reduce the inflammation. So rosemary is very good for inflammation, but also it helps if you're grilling your meat to reduce the carcinogens. And, you always hear the carcinogens, they're bad for you. It's cancerous.
Mm-hmm.
When you are grilling food, all that stuff, it actually attaches to the meat itself. You like that char,
right?
Thing, but that's bad for you. But if you do the rosemary with it, it's going to help reduce it. So at least you know that there's something that can reduce it, which is what I tell people. I said, I don't necessarily tell everybody, no, you can't have this, because as soon as I say no, that's what you're going to gravitate toward.
Absolutely. That forbidden fruit is always on the back of my mind. Like, I just got to have it. I got to have it.
Exactly. So I say no. But what I do is I explain the reasonings behind it. And several of my clients, what they do, they'll call me up or they'll send me a text message and they'll say something like, I was in the shopping the other day and it was like, all I could hear was, do you really need to put that in your mouth? Because that's what I'll usually tell them is I'll say, do you really need to put that in your mouth at this time? Or can you do something else? And they said, it's kind of like I'll get in their head. And then when they're going through the store by default, because I don't tell them you don't, I just ask a question. I say you don't have to have it. I'm just saying, do you really need it? And I make you to think about whether you need it or not, or is there something else you can do? So then I'm not controlling you, you're controlling yourself, or so you think.
And we all need to learn some manner of control when it comes to getting healthy and utilizing the things that are better for our health.
And understanding the why, just tell you, well, don't smoke. Right? I'll use that as an example. Oh, you shouldn't smoke because it's going to cause cancer. Okay. But people for years, they just blew it away. But do you really know what it's doing to your body? Did anybody give you another example that you could look at? I was never a smoker, but one of my beauticians was. And one day what I did is I took a prune and I took the prune and set it up on the counter. And she said, what is that? I said, well, you smoke and you see all these little ridges that you're starting to get across your lip and everything. Well, that's the way your whole face is going to look if you keep it up. But just keep that prune there. Don't worry about it. She stopped smoking.
I know she did, because I don't think anybody truly wants that smoker lip.
Yes. And you because it constricts your blood vessels.
Right.
But that gave her a visual to see, no matter how much you kept. But she's in the beauty industry. She does all those kind of things. So as soon as you say that, right, I hit her where it is. How are you going to represent people if this is what you're doing and how you're going to end up?
Exactly. Now tell us again the benefits of the cilantro.
The cilantro is like a magnet. When you
Mm-hmm.
cilantro, it's kind of like the all the chemicals and stuff that's in your brain. It actually gets attached to that, and then you actually get it out of your system. So when you smell everything or you go to the bathroom, it actually kind of pulls it out. So it's kind of like a magnet.
Mm-hmm.
The more you eat, the better off it is. And obviously that would be one where you would want to make sure that that one is organic, because if you're eating it and it's not organic, right, it's like you still have chemicals that's in there. So you would want to try to make sure that it's organic.
Defeating the purpose if it's not organic.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
The next question I want to ask you, you were saying something about the way you combine the foods.
Mm-hmm. The way I combine them is I look at, and there's always different schools of thought on it, but this is my method, and how I do it is I try to get people to eat the things that have the most water first. So you know how some kids, when they're eating, they only eat one thing, they don't want their food to touch, and then they're just eating this one thing, and when they finish that, then they'll eat the next thing, and you're always, you know, what we're saying, no, mix that and mix this, right? Mm-hmm. They're actually eating the way you should.
I have a son that's like that. Oldest boy, he's the middle boy of all three of our boys. And growing up, he could not stand for his food to touch. If his food touched, he was not going to eat it. You just forget it. And so for the longest, we kept him on those plates with the sections on it so that he could keep his food separated. But that really bothered me.
I know it bothers a lot of people, but I'll explain to you why. And the reason that how I explain it to people, this particular methodology, and like I said, there's different schools of thought, but this has worked with a lot of my clients. And that is, if you eat something that has the most water in it first, that also has the most fiber. Mm-hmm. So the fiber is kind of like your little Pac-Man, you know, like scrubbing bubbles. You know what that is. You know what Pac-Man, you know what that is. So it's going through your system and it's kind of washing down the walls before the rest of your food comes in, right? So because it has the most water, it's going to be digested more easily first. So if you have that, it's going to go through the system. Okay, now you get the next thing that's the most dense, and you keep getting more and more dense. But it takes you 20 minutes for your brain to say that you're full. So if you eat what in tandem, one thing after the other, by the time you get to the really, really heavy stuff, your brain is saying, I'm tired of chewing, I don't want to eat anymore, so you won't overeat. What happens is we oftentimes will overeat because we're mixing it all together and we're gobbling it down, and you eat more before your brain can say stop. If you eat this way, you will eat far less. And if it's organic, it's also cheaper because you eat less food.
Wow, it just tastes so good when you mix it all together. I mean,
but see, the other thing is,
unless they're mixed together.
Okay. Let me give you another example here. Okay, here's another example. If I have 20 people in the room and I want each one of those people to do something, and I write it on a piece of paper, 20 different things. Mm-hmm. But I take that piece of paper and I throw it up in the air and I tell you guys that I want you to go get what it is I wanted you to do. You're going to be bumping into each other. You can't figure out what to do or where to go, right? Mm-hmm. Now, here's where the same thing is applied to your system. Your enzymes in your system are very food specific, like lactose is milk, maltose, all these toses and all the different ones. The enzymes will only eat the things that are specific to them.
Right.
So when you combine it all together, you're confusing them. They don't know what to do. So your digestive system is slowed down drastically. Whereas if you eat one thing, all those will say, let me go and do what I'm supposed to do, and then I can go rest.
Wow.
Then when you eat the next thing, they go and do what they're supposed to do, and then they go rest. And you will find that you will end up going to the bathroom more throughout the day, because you should be going to the bathroom 3 to 5 times per day. If you're not, you have a sluggish system.
Wow.
Make sense?
It makes perfect sense. Let me ask you a question in regards to your seasoning. Talk to us a little bit about the seasonings that you make or your company prepares.
What I do is, like, for example, I have this one. This is a tuna seasoning. I have a tuna seasoning. I have a soup seasoning, poultry. This is one of my top ones, my poultry and my hillbilly. Now, my hillbilly one, it's a rub. What's interesting about this one is my daughter, my gardener, anybody you think of, because they know I do this particular one, they will put this in rice. It's very potent, but it's really more like a rub for meat, okay? But they'll put it on grilled salmon if they're gonna do the salmon, if they're gonna make rice or whatever. And because I put it together the way it is, it doesn't taste the same. You know how sometimes you'll get a seasoning and when you use it, no matter what you put it on, it tastes exactly the same?
It does.
This one is kind of like a chameleon. It changes depending on what you put it on. It just goes and it blends well. If you want it on vegetables, it tastes a certain way. You put it on beef, it tastes one way. You put it on chicken, another way. You put it on salmon, it tastes another way. So whatever you put it on, it changes the whole vibe of whatever that is.
I can't wait to try that. The hillbilly.
I'll have to get you some.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
You're more than welcome. You're more than welcome. And I'll tell you, this is how I get my gardeners and stuff to, when I just got some new gardeners and I wanted them to get some things done and they were kind of being sluggish and not doing it. So one day what I did is I also have a barbecue sauce too. So it's got a kick to it. So it's got a little bit of a kick to it. So I gave them that and I said, okay, do you know that the next week they showed up earlier than they were supposed to? And they were like, do you have any more of that barbecue sauce? I was like, no, but you know what? I've got a little bit of a rub. I can give you some of that. So I gave them that. The next week they came back and now they started buying it.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So I know there's always different types of sauce and rubs. You know, you got your Memphis rub, you got your Texas rub and everything. Tell us, what type of rub? Is it a dry rub or is it?
It's a dry rub. It is a dry rub. But and it has more of a smoky flavor to it, you know, so it has a little bit of a smoky flavor to it, which is a hickory. So I have a hickory type of undertone. What I have, it does have garlic, does have a little bit of onion in it. And again, why do I have onion and garlic in there? Because that's my prebiotic. Remember, I explained to you the prebiotic, which helps to help your probiotics grow so that when you eat, it's going to help you digest what you've eaten. So you put this on and you're like, oh, this is just so good. You don't realize that what I've done is I've actually put things together that's going to help you digest your food. So that's kind of what all of my combinations do, is I do it so that when you're using it, depending on what you're using it for, the same thing with the tuna, the same thing. There's certain things that I put in it and the combinations, all of them are very flavorful, so you're gonna love them. But I put something in there that I know will help you to digest and get your system stimulated.
Well, you're a pretty smart cookie there, aren't you?
Yeah. I think so.
Go ahead, girl. Go ahead. Put your own horn. It's okay. You don't just.
Yeah, you know, it's like I said. I get you to change your eating habits and make you think it was your idea, right? See, that's the whole beauty behind it. You're like,
look,
so
you're kind of slick with it too, huh?
Yes, you have to do that, because if I tell you up front that that's what I'm doing, you're going to go, oh, okay, you know, this This is health food. And that's why one of my slogans was healthy never tasted so good.
Oh, wow. I like that. So
Yep.
let me ask you a question.
Uh-huh.
Okay, you know, people are doing these fad diets with they're vegan, they're vegetarians, they're this, they have their morning star meat, they have their you know, their faux meat and their tofu and all that stuff. I never could get into tofu. Never ever. It's I don't know, it's like just like eating styrofoam or something for me. I couldn't. But I did eat the Morning Star um, hamburger patties and the sausage and things like that. And I happen to like it. Now my family don't like it at all. So my only issue with it is that I don't want to trade one bad habit for another because there has to be something in this faux meat that can't be completely healthy because it has to be preserved. It has, you know, that's where the fillers come in, like I was speaking of before. So I don't want to go from eating the meat that I love to something that I kind of like, and it's still not any healthier than the meat that I love.
Okay. Those companies may not like me. You're absolutely correct. Because if you look at the ingredients that's in there, I've worked with a doctor at Kaiser. His name happens to be Dr. Lawenda, and he's plant-based, whole food plant-based. He was written up in Forks Over Knives, and they had actually referred clients to me. So I was working with them. And one of the things is that a lot of the oils that they use, it actually slows down your digestive system because oils are the very last thing for your body to digest. So if you look at what's in them, they have a lot of oil.
Oh.
Better off eating the regular meat. So if you're doing a burger patty, right, get grass-fed if you can have it. I happen to have one of my, and this is a little piece of trivia, is that if you know that you have allergies or things like that, you would probably want to stay away from grass-fed. Why? Because some people are allergic to grass. So you don't think about that when you're eating it, okay? So you may not want to do that, but I would suggest making your own patty. You don't have to put the fillers in, just make a patty that's smaller and add, what am I going to tell you to add?
Rosemary.
Onion and rosemary. Exactly. Exactly. And you can take the rosemary and grind it up because even if you decided you were going to buy some rosemary, you can buy rosemary powder, or you can get an Italian seasoning that has rosemary and a lot of other Middle Eastern herbs in it. That's very good for you. Sprinkle a little bit of that in there, chop up some onions, some fresh garlic, mix it all together because the meat is going to have a little bit of fat in it, right? And then you just grill that.
So this is regular meat that you're speaking of, right?
Yes, regular meat. And that's because when you look at the other one, and then, you know, one of the tricks that I use, and I will tell you a trick that I use is if you're not using an outside grill because it's cold or whatever, you can still do it inside by adding a little bit of a liquid smoke to it. And that's going to give the smoky flavor you're looking for. So you can, so you can just do that. And then you have a healthier version and you have something that's going to help you to digest it. And then if you have a side salad and you add more garlic and onion and rosemary and what's my other thing? Cilantro.
Cilantro.
So you add that to the salad. Now you have something that's going to help you to digest it even more.
Oh, this is just wonderful. My husband, he cooks with the liquid smoke. I've seen him use that, whatever, in passing as I was walking through on my way to the other room.
Yes, that's what I do. I have my son-in-law. He's originally from Texas, and so I made him some black-eyed peas. But what I did is I didn't want to put the meat in there because I wanted him to have his protein. Yeah. But I wanted garlic and onion and, you know, I put a little bit of carrots in there, you know, but I blended it up so that he wouldn't really know. And then I put a little bit of liquid smoke in there because then when he's eating it, he thinks that there's meat in it. No, there's no meat in there.
Wow. I knew you were slick. I knew it. I knew it. You fooling people, making them eat healthy, and they don't know that they eat healthy. How dare you?
And they come back for more.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. I love
They
it.
come back for more. So, but go ahead.
Let's get to the salsa.
Okay. My salsa is a pico de gallo, and that means that it's cut. Mine is cut in squares, you know, so known for mine to not be all mushy, and it's not, you know, and it's kind of chunky. You know, here's my little container, you know, that I have. But what's interesting about mine is on the side, you will see, let me try to turn it, this little bit of guy here, and he's tossing like some fruits and vegetables. Okay. My salsa is the only salsa in the United States that can have that little guy on the container because it's considered a pre-seasoned, pre-cut vegetable. My salsa is not considered a condiment, and that's because of how it's made. There's no preservatives, no additives, no added sugar, no thickeners, none of that. And it was also from 2003, 2004 to 2005. It was actually featured on the Food Network as the best of the Food Network.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was featured on there because of that. So yes, and so and I've maintained that. I'm getting ready to go now to a new co-packer because my other co-packer got bought out by Pepsi. You know how they buy everybody out. And I finally found a new one who will agree, or who has agreed, to make it the way I want to make it so that I don't have to keep doing it myself, because I don't want any cross-contamination, which means they have to make mine the first production of the day before they do anything else. And, wow. And because I don't add preservatives or any of that to it, they make me sign a disclaimer to say that if anything goes wrong, it's on me, it's not on them. And I don't care because I've been doing this since approximately the year 2000. So it's what, 20, 21 years now, not had any problems. So yes, but that was how it got started. And who this was originally made for was my students. And that's because I was a special ed teacher and they were little baby kids and they were running all over the neighborhood. And I was tired of running around looking for them during my lunchtime. So I started serving salsa with chips and a movie. I had them and half the school in my classroom, but I could get my work done. I'm not running around anywhere looking for anybody. And that was,
I definitely would have been there.
Well, that's how the salsa company got started. And what's very interesting is those same students are actually on my Facebook page now with some of their kids. That's telling you how old I might be, but they're actually on my Facebook page.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Now, you answered the question I was about to ask you in regards to how do you prepare it? And you were saying that now that you have a new co-packer that's going to be preparing it so that you don't have to. I was about to ask just how big was your garden?
Oh, yes. No, what I do is who actually benefits from the salsa most of the time now are my neighbors, because I just moved to a new community. And that was kind of, if you look at my Instagram page, you'll see that my neighbors are now always leaving little, like you know how when cats go and find things and they bring you little treats and leave it at your door. Right. Well, what my new neighbors are doing now. So when one day I went and I had a bag of lemons, another day I had a cake, another day I had, what's the last thing? Rosemary, because they know I was going to make some potatoes. But they also know that I'm going to bring them some salsa or some rub or something in exchange.
That quid pro quo.
Yes. So they know exactly what they're doing. They come by and they leave a gift with a little note, oh, it was so wonderful. You know how they do that. Or yeah. I made a pasta sauce for one of my neighbors. And what did I get back? An empty jar. So that's what I do now, but I enjoy doing it. And I enjoy making the gifts and teaching people how to cook and what to use and how to use it and why. Those are things that I enjoy doing.
Well, the empty jars, that also equate to compliments.
Yes, thank you. It does. It does. And I did tell them that, but My other son-in-law doesn't live near me anymore. I'm not as close, but what he would always do, because he was going around to different jobs that he had to do because he was a supervisor, and my kids have keys to my house. So they knew, like, I would have stuff. I had a shelf. I don't keep it stocked as much anymore, but I had a shelf and I had all my stuff on there. So what he would do is he would come in and just leave all the empty jars of all the stuff that he went through.
Oh,
So that's how I would know that they came by, and it's like, oh, I see what you took now. And it's, but like you said, it is a compliment, and I do enjoy what I do. This is what I do all day, every day, which is why I thought, what better place for me to be interviewed on your show was in, I could have given you a virtual background and everything else, but this is where I am. So you got me in my natural, so to speak, my natural habitat.
Absolutely. I love it. It sort of looks like my kitchen.
Yep. This is where I am all the time. And this is where, I even have a dry erase board here, because for so often what I'll do is I will go through the store, and it's kind of like, I'll say, I wonder what that's going to take. Like and then I go through the store, and then when I come back home, I just take everything and put it all out. And then I start going through to try to figure it out. And then I'll make something, and people will say, well, what did you do? And I'm like, I don't know. So I put a dry erase board so that as I'm doing it, I can do my recipes. So I'm coming out with 2 more cookbooks. I'm coming out. Yes.
Wonderful. And I was just saying that your kitchen looks like my kitchen. So I feel at home, and I just walk right through your kitchen too.
Thank you. That is definitely a compliment. Thank you so much. Yes. So, yeah.
So now that you brought it to our attention again, you are an author. Tell us about your books.
I did one book that I'm completely sold out, and that one was called Now Chew on This. And I did that in combination with someone else. I will be coming out with that one in an ebook version. So I'm editing it now because I've learned so much more since I originally did that one. So I'm changing the recipes a little bit.
Okay.
And I'm going to reintroduce that one as an ebook. Then I have another one that I should have these other 2 done by the end of this month. And those 2 are going to be ebooks. One is going to be telling you how to eat seasonally and which foods you can eat each month that's in season. And you'll have recipes, and it will tell you that they're good for, like, say, if it's the national month of glaucoma, then it's going to be, the ingredients I have there are going to be good for your eyes.
Oh, wow.
And so that's one book. And then the other book I'm coming out with is I'm going to tell you which elixirs to use that's going to help boost your immune system naturally, since we have COVID. So, for example, we know, and I'm taking the symptoms or some of the symptoms that you would have for COVID, and I'm gonna say, these are things, and I give my disclaimer here because I'm not trying to be a doctor. I'm not trying to do any of those things because, they'll come down on me for that. So I'll make sure that I have all my disclaimers in there, and I will tell you, make sure you check with your doctor. But something, the ingredients will be, this will prevent phlegm. This one will help you to breathe better. And I will give you different little steps that you can take. And I will have testimonies from different people who either they were sick or their relatives were sick, and it did help them with the system that I've put together for that. So those are the 2 that I should be coming out with. And since you mentioned my book, I do have my other one that's here, which is Overcomer.
Right. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I am very interested in those ebooks that you're speaking of, with the elixirs and the different recipes for getting healthy. So you have a customer here with those. I definitely do. So now hold up your book again with the Overcomers and tell us about it.
Okay. This one is called Overcomer.
Mm-hmm.
And my story behind this, okay, which is another whole segue into something a little bit different, is because we all have things that go on in our life that we will have to overcome. In my particular case, I built my company up to a few $1 million, and my ex ended up stealing the money.
Oh, great.
So I had to pivot and figure out, what do I do? Okay.
That's my book called The Pivot.
The pivot, exactly. So that's what I did is I pivoted, but I explain in here what happened, how it happened, and it's only 10. I'm one of several authors in the book.
Okay.
That's my story. Many of these other ones in the book, they were sex trafficked. My publisher, what she does is she fights against sex trafficking. So mine is not because I was sex trafficked, but it deals with coercive abuse. That's the psychological, the emotional, the financial, which causes physical abuse because you can gain weight, lose weight, not sleep, all these other things that's impacting your health.
Absolutely.
So what I did is I focused on my nutrition, and that's how I was able to focus on what I needed to do to get out of that and build my company back up, which is what I've been doing now over the last 2 years. And it's an interesting read because one of the things I did so that I could make sure everybody knew that I was telling the truth is I actually have my court case numbers. My real court case numbers are in here in case anybody wants to look it up and see if I'm telling the truth because of who the person was who did this.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I'm going to be buying 3 books now. Okay? So let me, okay, 2 ebooks, a book, some salsa, the seasoning. My goodness, I'm just trying to write my check just forward to.
Yeah, so that's what I work with women who've been abused. That's a part of what I do as well. And I teach them the art of nutrition and health and what it can do in order to get rid of the brain fog, the cloud, the ups and downs. That's not to say you won't have them, but you get out of them faster because now you have the nutrients, right? The nutrients are going all through your brain. If you're eating organic, what I say is that your bloodstream doesn't stop at the neck. So if you eat food that's not good for you, it's in your bloodstream and it's going to give you the cloud in your head. So you have to make sure that you're eating foods, you're purging yourself, you're detoxing, you're walking. You see I have my little band on, so I do keep track of all my little steps here. So I have my band on and I do that. I walk around and do competition with my son-in-law. He doesn't want to compete with me anymore. He said that he's done with that. But one of the things that I try to teach people, because it puts your brain and it puts your thought process in something that's positive, and you don't think about the other thing. And that's what the book did for me. Where I wrote that, I was able to purge that out, get rid of that. And it teaches you not to be angry. It teaches you to look at it as a situation, because how you look at any situation is what you do to your body. You're doing it to yourself. So when you're angry, the other person, they don't know. Mm-hmm. But if you're angry and you have those chemicals going on in your body, you're reducing your lifespan. Yeah. And I was like, I'm not going to allow somebody else to reduce my lifespan because of what that person did. I'm going to pay it forward and I'm going to teach other people on what they need to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I see we have a lot in common, not the cooking part. But we're both authors. We both work with a nonprofit. I have a nonprofit as well where I work with women who are transitioning from the military to civilian life, but they have challenges with MST, which is military sexual trauma. Yes. And so while you're feeding their body, I feed their mind and their confidence and their self-esteem and the healthy part of their well-being to get them back to the person that they need to be and make them go to the best version of themselves. So
exactly. And the food is what helps a person to be, that's another component. What I always say is food is the foundation of everything, including you being successful in business. Because if you have clouding in your mind or whatever, then you can't focus. And for me, there were several people who used to be in my life, and every time you talk to them, it was like, woe is me, and they had sob stories, and I would just go, time out. And the reason I do that is because if you allow someone to keep talking negative, now what happens is I'm processing your issue.
Right.
I don't need to process your issue. I have enough issues of my own.
Exactly.
So I tell them, you have to flip that around. What is the positive in that? You know, let's look at the situation and flip it around. What can you do? How can you change that? Don't even go there.
Right.
Look at this. Look at the other side. You know, that may have happened, but what did you get out of it? In my case, I ended up losing my house of over 20 some odd years, and I ended up having to file bankruptcy.
Wow.
But it was my personal bankruptcy that I did because, and I was, you know, from the old school, oh, you don't want to do that. It's going to ruin your credit. It's going to do this. It's going to do that. And, you know, it took them a while. It took my attorneys a while to get me to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Best thing I ever did.
Yeah.
But I was fighting it.
Reorganization of your finances and assets more than disposing. So yeah.
Exactly. But I was stuck in my little box, and I listened. And then finally they showed me on paper, Charmene, look at this. Let me show you. And then I was like, okay, I'll do it. Best thing I did. And then I moved, and now I moved to a whole better community. You know, so I look at, sometimes we get stuck in situations and we're hard-headed, we won't listen. And in my case, I will say that's what happened. Then what God said, I'm just going to take it all away from you, and you're not going to have a choice.
Won't he do it?
Yes. So he did. He did do it. And it was like, you don't have a choice. I've taken everything away from you. You have to move. You don't have, you can't battle it anymore because you're out of options. You're just completely out of options here. But it was the best thing, but I didn't see it at the time. So that helped me to also get other people to start looking at, what are your other options? What are the options? And you may not want that option, but can it put you in a better position if you take that option?
Oh, that's wonderful.
And then food.
Yeah. Well, that's absolutely wonderful. Believe it or not, this is supposed to be a 30-minute show, but I enjoyed you so much. I just kept it going.
Okay.
Part 1 and part 2 in this time because this is very good information. This is sustenance information. And so I am happy, so happy that you agreed to be a part of the moment with a Twitch TV talk show. Please tell our audience how they can get in contact with you if they want to purchase your books, your seasoning, your rub, your salsa, everything. Let them know
everything. Mine is real easy. MamaVega.com, and it's MAMAVEGA.com. And there's this place there. It'll tell you can shop, and here's all my products, and then you can go there and the books and everything. And as I get more things, I will be adding more things to it.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for being the best part of Just So You Know Moment with a Twist tonight, Miss Charmene Vega. Charmene Vega, thank you so much. And we hope that we are able to get you to come back later on this year or even the first of next year and bless us with some more of the information that you have.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm just blessed that you actually even, tracked me down and said, hey, can you be on the show? And I love this is wonderful because, as you can see, I have a gift of gab. I don't have a problem with talking.
That's wonderful. So, all right, well, we're going to say good night. Let's wave bye-bye to everybody. Thank y'all once again for joining us for Just So You Know Moment with a Twist. I am your host, Dr. LaShonda Jackson Dean, and we're signing off for the night with Dr. Jackson Dean and Miss Charmene Vega, Mama Vega Enterprises, and Salsa. Thank you so much. If you would like to be a guest on the Just So You Know Moment show, Just So You Know Moment TV talk show with a twist, please visit us online at justsoyouknowmomentwithatoTwist.com/be a guest. And we look forward to hearing from you. Bye-bye for now. Mwah. see here. Are we off? No. Let me end it.